Hello, everyone. Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them with you. Feel free to follow me on social media if you would like. Links are in the description below. I've also posted a link to the Marvel fan site that I have plot synopsis and character bios for this issue. The New Mutants number 12. This is from 1983. And we've got a cover here. We've got Magma, and we probably are somewhere in Brazil still. That's where the New Mutants are. And Magma attacking the New Mutants. So here we go. We got the same creative team, but Tom Mandrake does look to be just the solo cover artist here. And so we are in Rio de Janeiro, and we've got Sunspot's dad going through. Very rich man, power. He just and so he's going into his building, and he comes in and he goes, "Hello, father." So we of course know Sunspot is there. Here we have our credits: Chris Claremont, Sal Buscema, and Tom Mandrake. So the same one that's done the last few issues. We do have a different colorist, George Russo's, not Glynis Wein. Tomer Zakowski still doing the letters. That man just lettered. Oh my goodness, he must have arthritis by now. He does letter digitally based on his own letters. He is still the letterer of Spawn for 300 plus issues. So Louise Simonson is still the editor. So, and this isn't that, I don't know, exciting of a splash page, but c'est la vie. And so, Bobby says, perhaps I should have telephoned to let you know I was coming, but I wanted my arrival to be a surprise. And much like my mother's and my friend's survival at the hand of your assassin. So we have, of course, the title of our story, Sunstroke. I have a playlist. I have a New Mutants playlist. I have an X Universe playlist, and I have an X-Men playlist. So the X Universe playlist is everything in reading order. Every Claremont verse. So we've got the X-Men, the New Mutants. We've got the Wolverine limited series. We got the Marvel fanfare. We've got a couple Marvel team ups. All sorts of stuff in that one. So if you want a complete history, a complete everything, check out that playlist, and it'll start at Genesis X-Men #1, which I covered as Classic X-Men #1. I've got the run through Classic X-Men all the way through. I've got the Dark Phoenix. Oh, so much stuff. So check out that playlist if you would like. So the dad here, Emmanuel, says, "You're sitting on my chair, Roberto." And Bobby says, "I remember you perching me on your knee up on the Corcovado beneath the Christ statue and waving your hands across the city." That would be this bluff here. Oh, it's not really a bluff, but telling me one day all we beheld would be mine. And so Bobby continues here. "I believed you, even though you laughed like it was no more than a joke. And I thought it was wonderful that my father could start with nothing and rise so far, achieve so much. Everything I did was to make you proud of me, to make me worth of your legacy. Now I find I no longer care." I don't think a child would necessarily talk like this. This is just Chris Claremont putting some adultism on a young teenager, because this is what he's supposed to be. Anyway, Bobby continues here. "Whatever you have to offer, I do not want." And the dad says, "You have never been poor, Berto, nor have you known hunger. You've never had to work like a dog just to stay alive. Think, my son, before you cast yourself into the abyss. You have much to lose," as he pours himself either coffee or tea. And Bobby says, nowhere near as much as I already have, and I don't consider that as I'm leaping off the edge as much as being pushed by you, he says. So Chris Claremont does love his drama. I swear that man would love to write a movie where people just talk. And so Bobby's like, hey, you try to have me and my mom killed. And Emmanuel says, that was never my intent. And so Bobby says, things got out of hand. Is that it? Your man Castro simply exceeded his authority. He says, why, father? What was it for? Wealth, power? Don't you have sufficient already? And his dad says, my reasons are my own. And this is a good panel here. Um, there's no border. I wish they hadn't colored it, just the face and just the lines. I think it would have been great without the color. So, and I desire to know them. Suppose Castro had succeeded. Would you have been sorry? Would you have even cared? And the dad's like, don't take that tone with me, boy. I'm your father. And Bobby's like, who loves me? A question. And mother too, no doubt. I look for the man I remember, I want, I need to find him only. Sorry. To find him only he's gone. A stranger stands in his place here. And so Emmanuel is like, what the F? He's like, you presume to judge me, how dare you? Just who in Hades do you think you are? Do not raise your hand to me, sir. And of course, he uses his power into Sunspot. And he's like, I'm no longer a child to be spanked in disguise. And so, now he goes, forget the Maria. Find some other land to exploit. To make a move into that hidden valley, I'll know. And I and my fellow mutants will do everything in our power to stop you. And he says, farewell. And so Emmanuel says, Roberto, leave me and it will be as if you never existed. I will have no son. And Bobby says, then, sir, I am now half an orphan. So he leaves. And Emmanuel is pissed here. So, all right. I love this part. Miss Duarte, I spilled my coffee. Send someone to clean it up. Also, place a call to that special number in New York. I love that. Send someone to clean up the mess I made. So Sebastian picks up, and Emmanuel says, regarding your invitation to the inner club of the Hellfire Club. Oh, sorry, the inner circle of the Hellfire Club. Sebastian, I accept. And so here comes Bobby taking off his tie, still mad. He says, or he thinks here, I didn't come to pick a fight with my father. I want to understand, to show me he was wrong. Instead, I made only matters worse here. And so we're going to get kind of like a fill in the gap. This wasn't covered in the previous issue. So he he's leaving and his mom stays in Maderia. And she goes, won't you stand by me against my father? And she says, I love him. And he goes, after all he's done. And he says, he fought so hard for so long that the gentle, decent man he once has gotten lost. If those who love him abandon him, Berto, however will he find his true self again? And so, yeah, well, that is sort of true, but all right. So the New Mutants are in the beach here, and so we've got Danny Moonstar and the new member Magma. So Mirage, who I think is going by Psyche. I don't know whether or not. And so Danny Moonstar and then Amara, who will be Magma here, and so she's talking. She's never worn a bathing suit before, and she's never been outside of Nova Roma. She's never seen the ocean. So she doesn't know if she belongs here. The sun, she says, is even brighter. here than in Nova Roma. And so now we're going to have the same thing. We're going to kind of flip back and forth here. Um, his father has sent her away. He doesn't want to, but thinks it might be best. He's like, the isolation is coming to an end, and for better or worse, they're going to have to get used to the idea of other people knowing about them. And so they'll be able to teach the people kind of how to deal with this here as she goes and learns, and between that and Bobby's mom. And so then he's like, moreover, there's the matter of your godlike abilities. And he's like, that's it, isn't it? That's the real reason you want to get rid of me. And so you're talking nonsense. But you can see as she gets angry, look at this, creates, here's some magma being sent, or lava. It's magma inside, lava outside. So he's like, she's sorry. And so she needs to learn how to control her power. And so she wants her to go to Xavier to teach her to control that power. She feels like she'll never see him again, and he says, well, that's up to the fates, but doesn't hopes that's not the case here. So of course we get these men here who want the girls. The girls are like, hey, we want to be alone. And of course the men are like, yeah, we don't care. And of course he kisses her, which of course, against her will, which of course makes her very angry. And she's lashing out with her power and created basically a little volcano here. Good splash page here. Look at all the screen tones being applied here too. Looks nice. So all right, meanwhile, Rain is at a church. Rain is very religious, very conservative. And so she's going into a church. It is a Catholic church, and even though she's not Catholic, she goes, hey, we all believe in God. She feels, it says here, that her soul has been sentenced and cast down to hell. So thinks of herself as damned. She feels guilty of what happened in Nova Roma, how she was in the wrong side. She, of course, is also facing jealousy because she loves Sam, but Sam, of course, loves Amara. Hey, teenagers. She also feels that Danny is spending all her time with Amara, and she feels Danny's her best friend, and now she just feels so alone. And so Sam calls her out, says, I've been looking for you all over. Come with me fast. We got big trouble. She goes, Cannonball says, Amara's disappeared. Danny figured we'll need your wolf powers to find her. And so here she is now in the middle of the city with everyone. She's a little overwhelmed here. And everybody's kind of yelling at her. The cars just... And again, the brightness of the sun. You can just see her. She's about to go crazy here. Here comes this cop to help her here and says, hey, let's get you out of here. And so, and he's wants her to go with him to the police station, but is holding her firmly. And she's like, let me go. And that, of course, creates another volcano. And she's just so scared of all this. And of course, they hear the commotion. And so the New Mutants are going after her. And yet another one of these little volcanoes have appeared. Sam's like, Amara's our responsibility. That makes this mess our fault. We better give the authorities a hand. So Danny agrees. She knows that Amara wouldn't do this on purpose. and she says we can do most good by finding her before she causes a real disaster. So they're like, Rain, can you find her? And so Rain turns into her wolf form, and off she goes. And suddenly she sneezes, and it's because of the sulfur in the air. Not good for the environment here. So, all right, again, we're using the sun here as kind of like, because it's just so bright for her. She's kind of feeling dazed here, and you can see she's going into despair and awakens here her powers. So saying, maybe she is a goddess and can destroy everybody. So she's going a little crazy. I love the color holds here, that these things in here. But she kind of comes back to, if you are familiar with how I go through the X-Men, I have been starting to narrate more and read a little less, mostly because it's just Chris Claremont, whom I love, is one of my favorite writers, but it's so damn wordy. It would take me 45 minutes, and I'm trying to do this within 20ish minutes or so. So I do apologize if you're used to me just kind of reading along. That's kind of why I've been just narrating here. So she's confused as to whether she dreamed the destruction of the city or if it really happened. But you can see here it really did happen. And so all of a sudden these show up here, and in Portuguese here. Look, it's a girl. And they're like, what should we do? Let's take her. So here we go. Rain, I love this here. Rain finally gets her, and Danny's like, oh, we just missed her. Any idea which way she went, Rain? There's a lot of sense. Danny mingled with Amara's. I think some people carried her to a car or truck and drove off, he says. And Sam kind of pets her like if she was a dog or something, which she of course takes offense to that here. Um, and so you can see her. Don't do that, Sam. I'm not your bloody pet. He says, I'm sorry, Rain. I didn't mean nothing like that. And she's like, just keep your hands and thoughts to yourself from now on. That's all I ask. Danny, there's a very odd taste in the air. I do not like it. So, which of course it's the sulfur and the living in the city. Of course, they need to find her before she creates another volcano here. And so we're now in the slums. There's a lot of slums in Brazil. There's a lot of money and a lot of poverty, just like anywhere else. But in Brazil, you can really see a big difference between the poor. And so here's Amara here, and someone's asking, why did you bring her here of all places, Vadinho? Why not a hospital? And here are the kids, probably a mom or sister here, and they're like, we didn't know what else to do. And they're like, she's not even one of us. Of course, just like anywhere else, there's white people who seem to, not saying they do or anything, but are kind of referred to as the upper. And then there's probably there's essentially the brown people, the more people that are mixed with Indians and all that stuff. So so she goes, she's not even one of us. She's probably never been poor a day in her life. If she dies here, brother, we'll be blamed for it. So take some money, go phone for an ambulance. And he's like, floor, that means flower. Behind you, the door. And so here comes Sunspot, and he is in his thing. They're like, a demon. And of course he realizes they're only kids. And so he turns back into it. And of course here comes everybody else concerned about Amara. And he speaks in Portuguese and says, "Please don't be alarmed, miss. These are my friends too here." So Danny thinks that she got a sunstroke, meaning she just got too hot here, and so she's gonna try to do the same trick that she tried with a rain to see if it can make it cool off, but her power kind of goes a little crazy and creates a different one here, and so they again she used the fear portion instead of the good one. All of a sudden there is a tremor, and they're like, Amara's too weak to be moved. We'll have to get her to a hospital later. We have to cool her down right now. Sam, Berto, find me ice, all you can carry, and pray that you're not too late here. So here they go here. They grab a ice truck, and you can see Sunspot holds it, and off they go. This guy's reading, and this kid's pointing out here. So, and look at this. Another, in the harbor, another volcano is kind of being formed here. And suddenly, she's coming to as they have put all this to, like I said, cool her down, which was the problem, is she was too hot here. And she goes, "Did I destroy the city?" And Berto says, "Hardly even scratched, aside from some messed up streets and a brand new island in the bay." So, and Amara says, "Father was right. I have much to learn about myself as girl and mutant." And you can see Rain holding her hand here. "I see now I cannot do so by myself. Like it or not, I need your Professor Xavier. I'm afraid, my friends, for better or worse, you are stuck with me." And Rain says, "That suits us just fine." Next issue, School Days. So, New Mutants, number 12. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by Sal Buscema, and Tom Mandrake in the inks. Like I said, it's in the 20-minute range, so hopefully a much better job than trying to read these Chris Claremont issues. Like and subscribe. I do thank you for listening. Goodbye.